Hello, hello, beautiful souls. Too many men are not stepping in to their initiations. They are missing primed opportunities for their evolution. I'm going to be speaking about this in depth to include how it relates to masculine, feminine relational dynamics, as well as the priestess path. You might be wondering why I'm going to be speaking about the priestess path when we're talking about masculine initiation. It's because those two things are meant to be intertwined. And I'm going to show you why and how those things have become blocked due to a patriarchal matrix, to conditioning ideas and imprints inside of men that are not allowing them to understand the ancient, aligned, and true way for him to fully evolve into the totality of his embodied soul. If you're not familiar with me, my name is Ashtyn Monea. I am a teacher, seer, and mentor for grounded mystics. This is a part of my newsletter series, and my newsletter provides written as well as video transmissions monthly. It is like being enrolled in a course for higher consciousness. If you are not already subscribed, I highly recommend it. If you are already subscribed, welcome back. Okay, let's drop in. Because I hold the priestess path within my soul, because I have been priestess, true high priestess in prior lifetimes, and I also hold remembrance. So, not just the coding of the experience, but actual memory that I have. And I take those with me into and through this life. I can see depth in spaces where other people might not. There are women who are encoded to be massive initiations, not just for maybe their partner or people that near them, but even on a collective level. There are ways in which relationships are being organized. They are being divinely orchestrated to be brought to us. So me to them and them to me. And I'm saying this in two different ways right now. So I'm saying it from a personalized place, but also of any woman who's on a priestess path. You will have people brought toward you because you can see, you can activate, you can initiate, you have wisdom, you have things that are there to provide to them to evolve their soul. However, when we're living amongst a patriarchal matrix, there are ways that people do not understand this process, and they can also approach you irreverently and dishonorably. Also, lacking reciprocity. We'll get into that. So the two ways that I'm speaking is from a personalized place and also a place of the priestess path for someone that's on the priestess path. But I'm also speaking about this at a larger collective level. There are people that are brought to us on our path, and this is especially important during this time in humanity's history because there are ways in which we are being provided activations to evolve collectively that haven't necessarily been on the table in the same way previously. So, for example, you may be listening and you have had a relationship be brought to you that sparked so much inside of you. It was magical. The way you met was deeply synchronistic. Maybe you even met through the dream space before you met in the physical. Maybe you had these deep intuitive callings. You could feel the presence of this person as they were nearing you and you were nearing them. And then you're brought together, and there were like all of these big shifts, like big learning lessons, big activations and processes that brought you into an entirely new state and way of being. There are so many different types of relationships, and people can get kind of confused about this, especially if they're not used to that type of divine orchestration relationally. For someone like me, I've had that experience on many, many occasions. It's kind of more so my normal. But let's say that you were having this type of relational explosion of an experience that was deeply magical, and there's like polarity in place, but there's also this like wild overlap in your life. There's prior lifetime memory, like just add it on, add it on, add it on. The likelihood is you're going to think, this is my person. This is my person. Maybe they are your person. They might also not be your person. And the reason why I'm saying this is because we are being brought into and through collective evolution to include these relational experiences that are here to expand, activate, initiate, and evolve us. So, when I said previously there are different types of relationships, a lot of people will automatically have this type of experience and put it into long term partnership. But it might be meant to be a short term experience that has a lot of magnitude. It might be that that relationship, even if you have some level of attraction or spark between each other, is really more so meant to be a friendship. But because there's so much magic in place, in my teachings, I call this getting love drunk, or sorry, magic drunk, you're getting magic drunk. And so you are attempting to then put it into a box that maybe it's not intended for. There are cosmic connections. There are connections that are happening because we have had experiences with this other person that now is incarnated in human form at the same time with us. But remember, we are made of soul. We're made of so much multiplicity to include multidimensional multiplicity. And so it may be that you have had experiences with this soul in another dimension, galactic space, planetary system, and just another experience. And that experience is wanting and needing to come through on this earth plane. Like it holds keys for your soul. It holds activations. It holds deeper wisdom and knowing. Maybe there's even like a technology that you had galactically and you're meant to create it here in the physical on this earth plane. And the only way that you're really going to have the proximity to that thing is by a human who was there with you during that time space within that dimension, etc., that becomes in physical proximity to you, that then allows you to remember. Okay, this is remembering. It's really about wholeness. So sometimes what we'll do is we'll make something about something else because we have an attachment to it and we don't allow it to be the thing that it's meant to be. This is very important in this overarching conversation that we're having in this transmission today, because this is also something that is very, very common when a man comes into contact with a woman who is wildly embodied, who is an oracle, who holds wisdom and coding, like coding in the unseen that bursts worlds. So much coding inside of her system that it's like there's just plentifulness for other people to receive just by being in proximity to her. She is magic. She is an activation. She is synchronicity. She is a portal. She is a vortex. She is so much. She is so much, even also more than that. So people will near her, and I'm going to say this in a more male female type of organization, but apply it as you need to, just because that is my arrangement. So a man will near, and let's say he's like, wow, like so wowed by this woman. This woman is magnetizing. She is radiant. She is wise. She's clearly like from this world, but also not from this world. Like she is high, high value and rarity embodied. What I say in my language is that many people fall in awe with me. It's true. Like, so many people fall in awe with me. It's again a part of my normal. They're falling in awe with this initial kind of spark and experience. And that, though that thing has truth inside of it, you haven't been called into the depth yet with that woman. You're receiving her for the first time at a surface level. And even a deep woman at a surface level is everything. So you're having an experience as you're falling in awe with her. And yet you have not moved through the responsibility of proximity to her because that woman is going to activate you. That woman is literally going to feel where you're out of your integrity, where you're out of your soul alignment, where you are not on your true path or purpose, where you have pockets of shadow, conditioning, patriarchal imprints, ancestry, past life stuff, inner child stuff, attachment stuff, belief stuff, so mental body, emotional body blocks, literally everything. She can access all, I can access that all with ease. I literally am not like doing anything. It just is. So then what happens? You're like, oh, this woman. And it's like, right? Heaven. And then the illumination of heaven has contrast. It's called hell. And all of the darkness, all of the things that are blocking you, all of the things that are illusionary that are surrounding you, all of a sudden, the heaven within her, her illuminary nature is activating inside of you. And then what do you do then? Well, many men are running from their initiations, as I said in the beginning. I'm not saying that this doesn't apply to men and women. I'm a high caliber initiation like you wouldn't even believe. Like I literally work with high caliber women that also initiate, and some of them cannot handle the initiations that I provide. Now, I'm always going to like attune to you, right? And be in spaces with you that are appropriate for you. That's why I scaffold my work. There are ways that I gatekeep the process of nearing me so that it keeps you in alignment with where you're at. And it also provides opportunities for you to go deeper. Like, for example, there are offerings that you can find on my website, like my Seer single session or my intensive. You have a TIE membership, but that has a gatekeeping process and application. There are ways that you could work with me. And then there are things that I don't put on my website that you would only have access to if you actually succeed in those initiations. You go all the way through them. And it's like you have not only received what's been provided, we're really going to get into that. Reception is super important here in this topic and conversation, but you've also digested and you've implemented. All of those things are important. If you were to go back in the day and you arrived at temple, right, to priestess gates, there are going to be guards at her doors, energetically and otherwise. There's gatekeeping processes to arrive to a woman who upholds what I've been speaking into this room, also what I embody. And you may too. Like you listening, you may too in the ways that you do, right? And so, as someone would near the space that is so sacred, it's a place where you have the opportunity to be initiated if you are in resonant alignment to be initiated. So, like, if you're coming and toward temple doors and you're trying to knock it down, you're trying to demolish it, you're trying to control it, you're trying to dominate it, you want to imprint false power onto it, you want to be better than it, you want to compete with it, you ain't getting through those doors. That literally is part of what has created the patriarchal matrix. Everything that I just said is so encoded in so many different ways you're going to receive and digest at the level that you're meant to receive today. But just know that there's so much more than the words coming out of my mouth. So much more. Those things that I just mentioned, like domination, control, false power, competition, Those are also all of these ways that men are very commonly, more commonly than not, unfortunately, interacting with the feminine because it's a part of their patriarchal imprinting that they have taken into their body. And instead of doing the work to unravel it, to address it, he'll go into shutdown, failure, shame looping, avoidance. He'll run, he'll escape. This is a big issue because we need men in their power. And I'm talking about true power, not false power. I'm talking about embodying his soul, which cannot happen without coming to contact with the feminine element that will support him in coming into his wholeness. I talk about this a lot because my teachings are integration based. So I speak about how if you want to come into the true masculine, there's literally no way to do that. In truth, there literally is no way to do this without integrating and understanding the feminine and also centering her. It is not possible. Anything that suggests otherwise is out of alignment. It is illusionary. It is not true. Period. I can feel that moving through my priestess soul. I can feel that moving through my body. Whew. Like, did you feel it? Because I'm feeling it. So imagine that there is a priestess and she has such immense wisdom, activation. She's got the currency of the goddess. That is the currency of life. So, like, when we move into states of fragmentation, when we are underneath a veil, like our soul essence is underneath a veil of something like a conditioning imprinted into us and imprinted into our body. That is a place where there's anti life. Life is connected to soulfulness. And so the current of the goddess connecting to the original source of all of life, which births all of life, women provide that currency for you to birth yourself through the activation, initiation, her wisdom, et cetera, that she can see so far beyond. Like, women know who and what a man can become so much more clearly and immediately than men do. Like, that is more so women's normal than it is not. But what'll happen is he'll be like, "Oh, why are you nagging me?" And it's like, she's like, "You're leaving so much on the table." And as you leave so much on the table, your shadow programming, conditioning, etc., is actually hurting me. It's harming me. And you're supposed to be the one that's protecting me. Part of what the patriarchal matrix does is it takes something that is true and it inverts it and it flips the script. So, a role that men are meant to occupy is protection. But when they're in service to a patriarchal matrix over truth, and truth is literally like the core principle that the masculine is meant to uphold, whereas love is the core principle that the feminine is meant to uphold, where he is not upholding the core principle of truth, which you, because you can't do that if you're attached to and aligning with a patriarchal matrix that is illusionary. It literally takes you from a man of protection who's holding the sword of truth to, phew, you are now a predator. So it moves men from being protectors to predators. That's just how it works. And these things show up in so many different ways, societally, collectively, relationally, familially. It shows up in a variety of different ways. And so what I'm speaking to is like a larger thing, but there are so many ground level experiences and examples that are happening honestly incessantly. So imagine that a man, instead of protecting the temple, he shows up at the temple and he's like, "You open that door." And instead of getting permission to go through the door, he just knocks it down and he just invades the space and he goes, "This is now mine." That's how a lot of men are operating because of the patriarchal imprints inside of them. Entitlement is what I just said. You're entitled to have access to her. And so when this applies to a woman that's a priestess, it's like there are people who believe that they're entitled to your time, they're entitled to your wisdom, they're entitled to initiations that they have no actual intention of fulfilling. They're entitled to your the life force that's moving through you, to include currents that move through her that are sexual because they're creational. They believe that they have access to her time, energy, space, on and on and on and on. Where in a patriarchal matrix, the masculine is also entitled to a certain level of superiority, and the feminine is placed into an inferior role, which is so very counter to truth itself. This also creates a lot of difficulties. And if you're interested in this topic, I have another video that I talk about leadership. And this is about like true feminine leadership and how there's this false sense of masculine leading that doesn't actually allow the feminine space to be acknowledged for the kind of leading that she is meant to do in her divine right roles. So, what will happen is that a man, for example, will have life divinely orchestrate an opportunity to be in proximity to a woman who is holding the highest levels of soul shifting currency possible incarnate. And they will near her and will not have the ability to, not, it's not an ability, it's a choice. They will submit to their patriarchal imprinting. It's interesting how this works. They will submit to their patriarchal imprinting. And by doing so, they will put themselves in a higher positioning than her. Like, I have to lead, you can't lead. And so if she is not, like, he's not even acknowledging this is her realm. This is where she leads. This is where the feminine is meant to lead. He's now trying to occupy her role, just like he would occupy her temple. It's through a false power. It is not true power. Because a man of true power does not compete with the feminine in her role and try to occupy it. He knows the value of it and he receives. Remember, I said reception is really important. He receives from her. And in receiving from her, he actually grows his capacity. Okay, that's a hugely masculine thing, to grow your capacity to hold. You can't grow your capacity to hold if you're resistant and you're not in reception. How does this translate relative to initiations that women are providing for men? Well, if you come near a woman like me, you're going to be initiated. You're going to be activated. There's nothing that you can do to stop that. It just will. It just will happen. But then you can choose, it is a choice, to resist what is being provided. So if, for example, you're like, oh no, this woman, she can't lead, she doesn't guide, you're not acknowledging like how her wisdom is impacting you, how her magic is impacting you, da, 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 da. Okay. So she's not leading, she's not guiding. You're in resistance. You're not receiving from her what she is providing to you. And what she's providing to you, what you'll be receiving is like a slow dripping sink, and she's an ocean. And then you'll be like, I'm more than you. I'm better than you. I lead you. You don't know. I know. What? So where a woman can see like, like I can see that there's an initiation on the table. I can see the opportunity before the masculine. I can see the like things that will come through for him and what he ultimately can be. I can see where he's come out of his soul level alignment, and I'm offering him the quickest, fastest, most true aligned pathway for him to actually come into the truth of his nature and everything that he ultimately desires and what it is that he's here for and how he can create that in the physical. In this thing, this dynamic, these dynamics that I'm talking about, he'll resist all of that. He'll resist all of it. And in resisting it, does he see? Does he see clearly? No, she does, but he doesn't. She sees the missed opportunities. How can he see the missed opportunities with those kind of blockages and that level of resistance? He can't. The feminine is meant to lead the masculine through the unseen. This is also why she leads in this way to initiate him. She can see things into and through the unknown, the man that he would inevitably become if he chose. He doesn't have access like that in the same way that she does, period. But a patriarchal matrix doesn't want a man to evolve, because if a man evolves and he comes into true power, he's no longer going to be reaffirming an old paradigm. He's no longer going to be cattle in the same way. He's going to liberate himself, and he in himself, as well as upholding a new paradigm that is more reverent and honorable of the feminine principle, because now he really understands what it is that she is and what it is that she offers. He's no longer in competition with her power. In fact, what he'll do is he'll bring what I call God's eyes. It's an illumination that the masculine brings, because feminine is feeling and sight is masculine, and his eyes will illuminate the power within that woman, the wisdom that she is, the truth of her nature. All of a sudden, in a dysfunctional patriarchal matrix that absolutely diminishes the feminine in every way, tries to suppress everything that she ultimately is, tries to diminish her, control her, and dominate her, this man is being a true protector and bringing God's eyes into a shared reality that illuminates her in everything that she truly is. This is also part of why men have this kind of resistance. They won't actually go on the journey of the initiations, because it's the patriarchal imprinting that is telling him that he can't do that. Like, you're literally getting on your knees for the patriarchal matrix, which isn't very masculine. The incessantness of this, the ways that it is common, and I would know this more than most because I am what I am, and I do what I do. I watch men reject their initiations constantly, like divine primed opportunities. And there are certain kind of blocks and barriers. I address this when I work with men one-on-one that are like, no, I will this in. I am here and I'm going to do this work. There are certain kind of blockages that are really, really common and that come up. And honestly, if I'm going to be like completely transparent, they ain't shit. Like, they ain't shit. Like, in the bigger scheme of things, the things that men are allowing to take them down are very weak and feeble. Like, I'm not saying the work isn't doesn't require a certain kind of steadfastness and effort, but like, if you're letting an idea in your mind that you're not ready, when life is literally right in front of your very eyes, even in the very moment, clearly has divinely orchestrated an opportunity for you to come into contact with a woman of rarity such as myself, and then you go to your mind that says, oh, I'm not ready. Is that actually true? That's what I'm saying. Like, that idea ain't shit. To let that take you down is so teeny tiny comparatively. And then, and I'm just giving a single example, there are, again, readiness, the idea of readiness is a block for so many men. It also connects into things of like feelings of failure. And there's different things that I work with when I'm working with a man. So I'm giving you just drip, right? I'm giving you just a teeny tiny little bit. Now, when he resists and he doesn't say yes, he's also not growing his capacity. Women, my type of woman, the true feminine is infinite. There's no greater capacity builder than true feminine incarnate. The ways that she will bring you to your edges and your limits, but then you'll realize that you were totally capable because you've chosen to walk it, will grow your capacity more than anything. Anything. So, reception, though it is, and it's what I call base code in my teachings, though it's a base code feminine, this is what I mean, where we have to have integration in masculine and feminine in order to come into the true feminine and also the true masculine. Because the true masculine can't receive into this fuller nature and capacity without being able to receive, which is feminine quality, receive to grow his capacity. Now he is able to hold. And he's not able to hold a moment before that. Whatever he's talking about, he's holding, he's doing this thing. Maybe it's some level of emotional intelligence. It's, or it's just an idea in his mind that he's holding when you feel him lacking presence. It's not true holding. It's not the kind of capacity builder that really comes into levels of embodiment where that man steps into a room and everyone can feel him. If I were a man and I came into contact with a woman like me, I would literally do every single thing possible to be in proximity to her. Everything. It would be such a high priority. I'd be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe life has brought me this type of woman. Like, this is the most primed opportunity. It is literally greater than winning the lottery. And yet, what more often happens than not is they will potentially turn it into an idea of a romantic relationship, hence why I was saying what I was saying earlier, when it's not meant to be that. It's an initiation. Part of why they will do that is because they want to make it seem equal, like level, like, oh, well, this could be a romantic partnership, but it can't be that you are a lead and guide inside of my life and the most massive activation I'll ever have. So now I'm going to make it kind of sexual and romantic instead so that it can seem like this. They'll even make assumptions as though like let's say that a man kind of starts doing that. He starts making it romantic, right? But he also has this idea of not being ready. What can that look like? It can look like him rejecting her, like I'm not ready to be your partner when she hasn't even laid that on the table as an option. Like that is such a strong assumption. You haven't even passed through the prerequisites before even initiation has truly started. but but for some reason you think that you could be the closest in proximity person to me, which is the partner. Wow. Do you see what I'm saying? This is patriarchal imprinting. It will elevate a man while putting him way down. It'll put him on a pedestal of false ego while completely emasculating him. And he will play into it where ultimately he emasculates himself. Because, for example, coming into a contact with a woman like me and then running away like a scared little toddler, that's emasculating. Letting this teeny tiny little idea in your mind that tells you that you're not ready win and conquer the divine opportunity that life and God and Goddess has just put before you, being like, hey, you can do this. You're like, no, I can't. You're emasculating yourself. So I want to say this last part. because I know that there are women who are listening to me and they get it because they're living it and they've been living it. And the amount of ache and grief and like heartbreak, I can feel it in my body right now. I can feel it in my throat. I can feel the tears, you know, like welling up because again, she sees, you see where he does not. You see the loss. He doesn't. So the only person that ultimately in these types of situations really is fully grieving is her. I don't talk about the shadow dynamics and things relative to the masculine to put down the masculine. I speak about it to point to the things that are blocking him from his own power. I want to see every man in their power, like true power, not false power. I want to see every man embody his soul. I want to feel men when they step into the room because they're actually in their bodies and their hearts. I want to see women really truly being fully loved because the man in their life is embodying the things that are needed for true healthy conscious relationship. Like I want to see society shift into a new paradigm which necessitates the masculine principle really truly being a firm anchor, protector, provider. And I'm not saying this in a polarity coaching type of way when I'm saying these words, because a lot of people will have ideas immediately about what that means. There's so much more. When I even say provision, there's so much more that a man provides than monetary. There are so many opportunities that are being missed, and so many of them are being missed due to men's resistance rather than reception. It is fucking heartbreaking. Like it is tragic. It is really freaking tragic. And the way that women aren't being loved right in response, like in relationship to these dynamics that I'm talking about, also is a major, major problem. Like the feminine actually is being calling the masculine near, and he's receiving it as though she's pushing him away while he's being resistant to his evolutionary process, to the opportunities that she sees before him. She'll see the opportunities, and for example, he'll call it nagging, and so now you're creating disconnection between the two of you rather than receiving the like her wisdom and the things that she can sense within you, and actually walking through the process so that you can come into connection and nearness with her. Coming into connection and nearness with her for a man, it's also coming into connection and nearness with himself, with his soul, with his truth. Like this is how it operates when the woman is carrying the true feminine. This doesn't operate the same way when a woman is carrying the wounded feminine, because she'll take you far away from yourself. She'll take you so far deep back into the patriarchal matrix too, because she's trying to climb that fucking ladder with you. Talking about in the true arrangement. So when a woman is here and she's really embodying like the true arrangement of what the feminine really is, the amount of missed opportunities is something that really she knows more than anyone else. It's something that really deeply, deeply aches within her soul. It's something that she yearns for, that type of like closeness, like with any man, just will any man really step in and receive what it is that I am literally here on earth to provide. I am made for it. So I want to hold space for you through validating your experiences and really empathizing with the depth of the pain that is. Like I know that depth of pain. I know that depth of pain from a personal level, from a relational level. I know that depth of pain literally from being a seer and being able to see like timelines collapse and fall, opportunities not just relationally but like collectively literally falling. I know that ache and that pain through a kind of divine coding inside of my system that knows the truth of what it is when it all ultimately comes together. I can see the ways in which men are fragmented and running from themselves, and I can feel the need for him that's missing here on earth. I can literally feel it coursing through my body, again, not just at a personal level, but from a collective level. I can feel the totality of the feminine ache around this. I can feel it relative to omniversal falls. Like it's real. And those things, even if you don't always consciously recognize the different layers that I'm speaking to, you will feel them through your body, your spirit, your soul, your emotions as a woman. And this is something that is happening. People will tell you that this is not happening. They'll try to make it out like you hate men because you're saying that this thing that is ongoingly, incessantly a pattern and is happening, you know, they'll try to deny that it is happening at all, and turn it into a contorted narrative of something else other than love, which is what you are. And so I want to also hold you and empathize with you in that. If this transmission spoke to you, then hear the call. Like, these are the moments where it's really important to step in, like listen to the deeper feelings inside of your system. Like, if you resonate with my work, you're going to get the dripping sink, right? From social media, even my newsletters, even though there's a lot of value here, there's so much more. There's so much more. And so really do consider booking a single session with me, asking, since the holidays are coming up, for a family member to potentially gift you a session, something that's going to really be an investment that's going to provide value to you for so much longer than some like gift off Amazon, you know? Yeah. And please speak praises over my name, share my work, and share these videos, share with people that you feel will be resonant. The kind of wisdom that I embody is genuinely rare in this world. Like, it's authentic to the core. I don't speak things that I don't live. And so there's levels of transformation that you will receive in containers with me that you just won't find elsewhere. So I encourage you today to really listen to the call, put down the resistance wherever it may be, take action, step in, and receive. As always, so much love to each and every one of you.